So I spoke earlier to Tornado Marine Fleet. That's the company that runs and owns the Hurricane, along with 5 other similar vessels. And they gave me the same numbers you've just reported there, that there were 15 British nationals on board, all as paying clients. Also 12 crew and 2 local guides. So that's a total of 29 people. And as you say, there are 3 British nationals still unaccounted for. Now, all of the guests and the crew and the local guides who were rescued have been taken to the nearest harbour, which is Marsa Shagra Village Resort. And I've spoken to the owner of that resort. He says all the people that have arrived, who are being looked after by them, are in shock, and they're really struggling to process what's happened. When I spoke to him, they were still awaiting embassy support. None had passports or other paperwork, and he said at this time, as far as he was aware, the boat, the Hurricane, was being towed to Marsa Alam, which is another much bigger resort, about 25 kilometres further south down the coast.
This is obviously an ongoing situation, David, and 3 British nationals still missing. What more has the tour company been saying with regards to all of this?
So the tour company who chartered the boat on this occasion is a company called Scuba Travel. I've also spoken to the chief executive of Scuba Travel. He said, of course, their first priority is to look after the needs of the guests and to seek out, of course, those who are missing. They're working with authorities in Egypt and here in the UK. So the Foreign and Commonwealth Office here in the UK has been seeking out the families and are trying to make sure that everyone's aware of the latest and the status of their loved ones. He does have the identity of all of those on board, including those both rescued and still to be found, but is unable to share those details right now.
And it seems that diving can be a relatively risky venture. What precautions do we know have been taking place to try and prevent incidents like this?
Yes, being on the water carries a certain amount of risk at the best of times, but there's an additional risk here, and that relates to all the diving equipment on board and the gases and compressors and so on. And any reputable operator will want to ensure that it's mitigating those risks as far as possible. We spoke a little earlier to a senior diving instructor, David Normington, who outlined the kind of briefing that guests should expect when they step on board a boat like this.
There'll be a meet and greet, there'll be handing over paperwork, signing the liability releases, proving you've got insurance. They normally keep hold of all the passports, because that way, if there is an incident, all the passports come off the boat. Then they'll actually go through a briefing of the boat, where all the emergency exits are, where the fire extinguishers are, what you can and can't do in your cabin. So there'll be no smoking inside the boat. It will usually be up on one of the upper decks, well away from the dive deck, where we have all our cylinders and the gas is filled. There'll be no smoking in the saloon, nothing in your room. You won't be able to plug in any electrical items downstairs, and they'll show where all the life preservers are.
Well, in that same interview, Mr. Normington also told the BBC how important diving is for the Red Sea economy.
Accidents happen, so I'm hoping they don't ground the fleets, because it will have a massive impact on the dive centres and the people that live in Egypt. A lot of Egyptians are employed as dive guides, and all the crew on board are reliant on these boats. A lot of their money they make is not just a small wage, but is the tips they get from the divers that are going out there. So if the boats aren't running, they won't be getting any money.
We're yet to see what the reaction to this incident will be from the Egyptian authorities. There's been a number of incidents in the Red Sea area in recent days. On Wednesday, a Polish boat capsized, and on Thursday, a Russian man was killed by a tiger shark near the Egyptian city of Hurghada, also on the Red Sea coast. So in response to that, the diving territory, the beach area for about 45 miles up and down the coast, was shut to diving and has only just reopened. We'll have to see now how the Egyptian authorities react to this latest incident. Of course, none of these incidents are related, but sometimes there can be a knee-jerk response.